listening to Boxing Vibes TV News with JD, the only place for the latest and greatest news in the sport of boxing.
This is JD at BVTV News, and I'm back to give y'all the latest and greatest news in the sport of boxing. With that being said, man, if this is your first time on the channel, I would like to invite y'all to hit that subscribe button as well as that notification bell so that you are updated on our latest drops here on the channel. Now, with that being said, man, let's talk about the brilliant move by Ryan Garcia and his big victory over Devin "the Dream" Haney, over the weekend. Now, the reason why I say this was such a brilliant move by Ryan Garcia is because of what Ryan Garcia divulged in the immediate aftermath of his big victory over Devin "the Dream" Haney. Let's listen to Oscar De La Hoya and Ryan Garcia in the immediate aftermath of the fight when they sat down for the post-fight press conference.
Can't make fucking 140. I never even technically fought at 140. I fought every time at 143. True. My body can't literally go lower than 143. It's impossible. I tried every technique. Can't do it.
The only way he's gonna fight Tank Davis, it's a catch weight, okay? At 45, 44, just the way they did it to him.
Yep.
Now he's the man. Now he's the face of boxing. Come on now. Come on now.
Yeah.
And Derek James.
Now, this ended up being a very savvy and smart move on the side of Ryan Garcia. Because when you look at how him and Oscar De La Hoya have now said, right after the fight, that he's never going back to 140, well, that starts to make you wonder if all along Ryan Garcia knew he was never, ever going to make the contracted weight of 140. When him and Devin "the Dream" Haney sat down and they agreed to this deal, it was signed on the dotted line that it would be a fight for the 140-pound strap and that they both would be contractually obligated to come in at 140. But when you look at what was just said, it sounds to me like it was kind of a brilliant play by Ryan. It sounds like Ryan never, ever had any intention of worrying about this 140-pound strap. It sounds like he never had any intention of truly making 140 pounds. Now, the reason why it's a brilliant play is because while Ryan Garcia did dupe Devin Haney and Bill Haney and make them think that this would really be a 140-pound fight, but it wasn't. At the same time, though, I gotta admit the only reason why this fight did so well is primarily because Ryan Garcia promoted it. When you really look at the reason that this fight did such massive numbers and so many people were intrigued by what was going to transpire was solely because of all the antics and all the drama from Ryan Garcia. So Ryan Garcia essentially went into this fight knowing that he was never going to make 140 pounds. He knew that off the rip. But then Ryan Garcia was smart enough to know, I still got to pump up and build this fight up. So Ryan Garcia goes on social media every day. He talks about being transgender. He talks about possibly being crazy, mental health evaluations, and they're trying to lock him up, take his phone, put him on social media. He does something different every single day to hype up this fight between him and Devin Haney. All the while knowing that he was never going to get to 140 and that he low-key throughout training camp wasn't killing himself on a pace to get down to 140 pounds. But the brilliant part is, all the while, you're building up the fight, building up the anticipation. So now we get to 48 hours before the fight. No, better yet, more like about 36 hours before the fight. And you purposely only come in at that 143.2, right? You purposely come in at that weight, which was really low key your plan all along. But at that particular moment, you've built the fight up so much that when Devin Haney and his team get the news that you've missed weight, the event at this point is so massive, there's so much money to be made that you know that even if you give Devin Haney another meal or two for each pound, like how they bet the 500K a pound, you knew that if you just pay him and you still go through with the fight, it would all be worth it. And from the Devin Haney side of things, you're only a day before the fight, and when you're legitimately looking at probably $20 million on the table, maybe more, who knows? We'll see what the pay-per-view numbers officially come out for the zone. But when you're looking at the Devin Haney and Bill Haney perspective, the fight is so massive, and they're thinking in their head that we know Ryan, we fought him 6 times in the amateurs. The weight is not going to be a problem, even though we know he's going to come in huge, and that we're not even going to put in a rehydration clause, even though he came in at 143. And don't worry about the weight. The weight will be all right. And we found out that wasn't the case, but nevertheless, money talks. Money will always talk. So when it came down to it, as a matter of fact, Devin the Dream Haney was one of the first people to report that Ryan Garcia missed weight. And of course, you know that prompted a negotiation. They agreed to more money going to the pot of Devin Haney, at least 1.5 mil. Who knows if undercover there was even more? And then another intriguing part of all this is that you then had to decide what would happen with the 140-pound title. Because many times when this happens where a fighter misses weight, typically you will see a fight called off, right? When one of the fighters comes in overweight and they cannot fight for the title, the other fighter that made the weight can choose to call the fight off. But if you continue with the bout and you happen to lose, the title is then vacant. But in this specific case, another thing that went under the radar was we found out from Mauricio Suleiman that Devin the Dream Haney is actually going to keep the 140-pound strap. So what that tells us is that after the weigh-in, all of this stuff behind the scenes was negotiated. So not only did Devin get the extra money to continue with the fight, Mauricio Suleiman even stepped in and said, all right, there's so much money to be made. Dev, even if you lose, since he'll come in much bigger, we're going to allow you to keep that 140-pound strap in order to save the date. And so in case you lose, you're not now suddenly no longer the 140-pound champion when you're facing a Ryan Garcia who told us all he never planned to be a 140-pounder. He never planned to ever fight for the 140-pound title. So it was a brilliant move by Ryan Garcia to pull off this Devin Haney fight and promote it to such a level that now, I would say, personally, this is just me talking, I could be wrong, but I now would say that hands down, you have to have Devin Haney taking a step back, but you got to put Gervonta Tank Davis and you got to put King Ryan Garcia as your 2 most popular boxers in the sport as it pertains to America. The 2 top American fighters, especially if we're talking money. If we're talking pure hype and making a lucrative payday, it's Gervonta Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia. And at this point, I would even argue that Ryan Garcia at this point might have surpassed Gervonta Tank Davis. I think with what he pulled against Devin Haney and this victory, I think he has gone past a Gervonta Tank Davis. Even though Tank is still a top-notch fighter and brings in a lot of eyes, King Ryan Garcia, when you're talking about money, as of right now, he is the man as it stands right now in the immediate aftermath of that fight against Devin the Dream Haney. So, all in all, when you take a bit of time to process everything that went down and all the details start coming out, this was a heck of a move, man, by Ryan Garcia. Salute to Ryan Garcia for pulling this off because it was never about a title. It was all about hype and glory and clout. And he tremendously ended up knocking off Devin Haney, which now has propelled him to a level of hype that now, honestly, it does make him the A-side right now. He definitely is an A-side because you know he is a money man. And so if you want to make a payday, whether we like it or not, you have to go to the terms of a Ryan Garcia. And you heard Oscar De La Hoya. They're not fighting at 140, and then they're not really going to fully fight at 147. So Ryan Garcia, as of right now, is going to pull a real Canelo Alvarez move early in Canelo's career, where he's going to essentially make his own weight class. He's going to make his own weight class around 144, 145, so that your 140 pounders, you're going to have to go up in weight to face him, or your true welterweights, you're going to have to drain yourself a bit more to come find Ryan Garcia at 144, 145, until Ryan Garcia gets to a point in a couple of years where it makes more sense for his body to just go ahead and be at welterweight. But for now, he's such the money man, he's going to create his own division. But overall, man, that is how it went down. I got to salute Ryan Garcia. It was a heck of a savvy move. But the reality is, in my opinion, it is what it is, because if you're Bill Haney and Devin Haney, you took the money. And we all know that when you take the money, there really can't be any excuses at the end of the day. If you're going to go home and sleep on $20 million at night, you took the fight. You knew he was going to come in super huge. You knew that you didn't negotiate a rehydration weight. As when you knew he came in at 143, you also knew that you would keep the 140-pound strap over there at the WBC with Mauricio Suleiman. So even though Ryan Garcia parlayed this a bit to have the weight advantage, I mean, Devin Haney still made out okay. You got 20 million, maybe even more than that, and you can return as the 140-pound champ. And then Ryan Garcia goes on to his own created weight class that he's going to make since he's a money man. So it kind of works out, for both in a way. Devin Haney can try to build himself back up. He's still a champion. We still would love to see a Devin Haney versus Teofimo Lopez. We love a Teofimo Lopez versus Isak Cruz. So we still got a real healthy 140-pound division with all of them down there in that weight class. And now Ryan is kind of going to go do his own thing. But y'all let me know what y'all think in the comment section about Ryan Garcia and his victory over Devin the Dream Haney. Is he really legitimately now the American money man in the sport? Has he even possibly passed a Canelo Alvarez as a money man? Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comment section. This is JD at BBTV News. I'm going to keep giving y'all the latest and greatest news in the sport of boxing. Till next time, deuces.